عذاب أليم بما كانوا يكذبون وإذا قيل لهم لا تفسدوا في الأرض قالوا إنما نحن مصلحون ألا إنهم هم المفسدون ولكن لا يشعرون وإذا قيل لهم آمنوا كما آمن الناس قالوا أنؤمن كما آمن السفهاء ألا إنهم هم السفهاء ولكن لا يعلمون وإذا لقوا الذين آمنوا قالوا آمنا وإذا خلوا إلى شياطينهم قالوا إنا معكم إنما نحن مستهزئون الله يستهزئ بهم ويمدهم في طغيانهم يعمهون أولئك الذين اشتروا الضلالة بالهدى فما ربحت تجارتهم وما كانوا مهتدين مثلهم كمثل الذي استوقد نار فلما أضاءت ما حوله ذهب الله بنورهم وتركهم في ظلمات لا يبصرون صم بكم عمي فهم لا يرجعون. Brother Meesum, if you can hear me, I will stop at ayat 25 and then you can translate in English.
Inshallah.
صم بكم عمي فهم لا يرجعون أو كصيب من السماء فيه ظلمات ورعد وبرق يجعلون أصابعهم في أذانهم من الصواعق حذر الموت والله محيط بالكافرين يكاد البرق يخطف أبصارهم كلما أضاء لهم مشوا فيه وإذا أظلموا عليهم قاموا ولو شاء الله لذهب بسمعهم وأبصارهم إن الله على كل شيء قدير يا أيها الناس اعبدوا ربكم الذي خلقكم والذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون الذي جعل لكم الأرض فراشا والسماء بناء وأنزل من السماء ماء فأخرج به من الثمرات رزقا لكم فلا تجعلوا لله أندادا وأنتم تعلمون وإن كنتم في ريب مما نزلنا على عبدنا فأتوا بسورة من مثله وادعوا شهداءكم من دون الله إن كنتم صادقين فإن لم تفعلوا ولن تفعلوا فاتقوا الله نار التي وقودها الناس والحجارة وعدت للكافرين وبشر الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات أن لهم جنات تجري من تحتها الأنهار كلما رزقوا منها من ثمرة رزقا قالوا هذا الذي رزقنا من قبل وأوتوا به متشابها ولهم فيها أزواج مطهرة وهم فيها خالدون صدق الله مولانا العلي العظيم اللهم صل على محمد وآل Muhammad. Now Brother Meesum Zaidi will do the translation for us.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. A'udhu billahi minash shaitan al-la'in ar-rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. I will be reciting the translation by Abbas Sadr Amili, which is on the Quran Ahl al-Bayt English app on the iOS app devices. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Surah Al-Fatiha. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. All praise is only Allah's, the Lord of the worlds, the Beneficent, the Merciful, Master of the Day of Judgment. You alone do we worship, and of you alone do we seek help. Guide us, O Lord, on the straight path, the path of those upon whom you have bestowed your bounties, not the path of those inflicted with your wrath, nor of those gone astray. Surah Al-Baqarah, Cattle, Surah Al-Fatiha, the opening. Al-Baqarah, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Alif Lam Mim. This is the true book, wherein is no doubt, guidance to the pious ones, who believe in the unseen and keep up prayer and spend in charity of what we have provided them, and who believe in what has been revealed to you, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and what has been sent down to other apostles before you. And of the hereafter, they are certain. They are on true guidance from their Lord, and they are the ones who are the successful. Verse 6. Surely, as for those who reject faith, it is the same to them whether you have warned them or have warned them not. They will not believe. Allah has set a seal on their hearts and on their hearing, and over their eyes is a covering, and there awaits them a great punishment. And of people there are some who say, we believe in Allah and the last day, but they do not really believe. They seek to deceive Allah and those who have faith, but they deceive none save themselves, and they are not aware. In their hearts is a disease, so Allah has increased their disease, and there awaits them a painful punishment for what they were lying, for that they were lying. And when it is said to them, do not make corruption in the earth, they say, verily, we are only reformers. Indeed, they themselves are the corrupters, but they are not aware. And when it is said to them, believe as the people believe, they say, shall we believe as the fools believe? Beware, truly they themselves are the fools, but they do not know. And when they meet those who believe, they say, we believe in what you believe. But when they are alone with their evil ones, they say, verily we are with you, we were only mocking. Allah shall pay them back for their mockery, and He leaves them alone in their inordinacy, blindly wandering on. These are they who have bought error in exchange for guidance, hence their transaction yields them no profit, nor are they guided aright. The likeness of them is as the likeness of a man who kindled a fire, and when it's lit all about him, Allah took away their light and left them in darkness, unseeing. They are deaf, dumb, blind, so they shall not return to the straight path. Or their likeness is as a rainstorm from heaven, wherein is darkness, thunder and lightning. They put their fingers in their ears against the thunderclaps, fearful of death. Thus Allah encompasses the infidels. The lightning well nigh snatches away their sight. Whensoever it gives them light, they walk therein, and when it darkens over them, they stand still. Had Allah willed, He would have taken away their hearing and their sight. Truly Allah is all powerful over all things. O mankind, worship your Lord who created you and those before you, so that you may guard yourselves against evil. Who has spread out the earth as a resting place for you, and has made the heaven as a canopy, and has sent down water from heaven, wherewith He brings forth fruits for your sustenance. So do not set up rivals with Allah while you know. And if you are in doubt of what we have sent down to our faithful servant, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then bring forth one surah like thereof, and call your witnesses other than Allah if you are truthful. And if you do not do so, and you will never do it, then fear the fire, whose fuel is people and stones prepared for the infidels. And, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, give glad tidings to those who have faith and do good deeds, that for them are gardens beneath which rivers flow. Every time they are provided with fruits therefrom, they shall say, this is what we were provided with before, and they shall be given the like thereof. And there for them shall be spouses purified dwelling therein forever. Sadaqallahu Maulana al-Ali al-Azim. That was Surah Al-Baqarah, verses 1 to 25.
Jazakallah Ahsan. If anybody would like to recite, Brother Kareem, Kambar Zaidi, Sayyid Abbas, if any brother would like to recite the Quran, here's your chance. If not, I will continue. Just give me one moment, please.
Salawat in the meantime. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil faraj. If Maulana Ali Raza is taking a little bit, I'll continue with the Arabic, inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Verse 26.
Inna Allah.
إن الله لا يستحيي أن يضرب مثلا ما بعوضة فما فوقها فأما الذين آمنوا فيعلمون أنه الحق من ربهم وأما الذين كفروا فيقولون ماذا أراد الله بهذا مثلا يضل به كثيرا ويهدي به كثيرا وما يذل به إلا الفاسقين الذين ينقضون عهد الله من بعد ميثاقه ويقطعون ما أمر الله به أن يوصل ويفسدون في الأرض أولئك هم الخاسرون كيف تكفرون بالله وكنتم أمواتا فأحياكم ثم يميتكم ثم يحييكم ثم إليه ترجعون هو الذي خلق لكم ما في الأرض جميعا ثم استوى إلى السماء فسواهن 7 سماوات وهو بكل شيء عليم وإذ قال ربك للملائكة إني جاعل في الأرض خليفة قالوا أتجعل فيها من يفسد فيها ويسفك الدماء ونحن نسبح بحمدك ونقدس لك قال إني أعلم ما لا تعلمون وعلم آدم الأسماء كلها ثم عرضهم على الملائكة فقال أنبئوني بأسماء هؤلاء إن كنتم صادقين قالوا سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم قال يا آدم أنبئهم بأسمائهم فلما أنبأهم بأسمائهم قال ألم أقل لكم إني أعلم غيب السماوات والأرض وأعلم ما تبدون وما كنتم تكتمون وإذ قلنا للملائكة اسجدوا لآدم فسجدوا إلا إبليس أبى واستكبر وكان من الكافرين فقلنا يا آدم اسكن أنت وزوجك الجنة وكلا منها رغدا حيث شئتما ولا تقربا هذه الشجرة فتكونا من الظالمين فأزلهما الشيطان عنها فأخرجهما مما كان فيها فقلنا اهبطوا بعضكم لبعض عدو مما كان فيه وقلنا اهبطوا بعضكم لبعض عدو ولكم في الأرض مستقر ومتاع إلى حين فتلقى آدم من ربه كلمات فتاب عليه إنه هو التواب الرحيم قلنا اهبطوا منها جميعا فإما يأتينكم مني هدى فمن تبع هداي فلا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون والذين كفروا وكذبوا بآياتنا أولئك أصحاب النار هم فيها خالدون.
And Brother Kambar is next.
We provide for them a template to read off of, an online perhaps.
Yeah, I have it, inshallah, in the next program. Kambar Zaidi, if you can hear me, please start reciting.
Yes, moment.
Yes. It's ayat 40, right?
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yes, Bismillah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وآمنوا بما أنزلت مصدقا لما معكم ولا تكونوا أول كافر به ولا تشتروا بآياتي ثمنا قليلا وإجاجا فاتقون ولا تلبسوا الحق بالباطل وتكتموا الحق وأنتم تعلمون وأقيموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة واركعوا مع الراكبين والراكعين أتأمرون الناس بالبر وتنسون أنفسكم وأنتم تتلون الكتاب أفلا تأكلون واستعينوا بالصبر والصلاة وإنها لكبيرة إلا على الخاشعين الذين يظنون أنهم ملاقو ربهم وأنهم إليه راجعون يا بني إسرائيل اذكروا نعمتي التي أنعمت عليكم وأني فضلتكم على العالمين واتقوا يوما لا تجزي نفس عن نفس شيئا ولا يقبل منها شفاعة ولا يؤخذ منها عدل ولا هم ينصرون وإذ نجيناكم من آل فرعون يسومونكم سوء العذاب يذبحون أبناءكم ويستحيون نساءكم وفي ذلكم بلاء من ربكم عظيم وإذ فرقنا بكم البحر فأنجيناكم وأغرقنا آل فرعون وأنتم تنظرون وإذ وعدنا موسى 40 ليلة ثم اتخذتم العجل من بعده وأنتم ظالمون ثم عفونا عنكم من بعد ذلك لعلكم تشكرون وإذ آتينا موسى الكتاب والفرقان لعلكم تهتدون وإذ قال موسى لقومه يا قوم إنكم ظلمتم أنفسكم باتخاذكم العجل فتوبوا إلى بارئكم فاقتلوا أنفسكم ذلكم خير لكم عند بارئكم فتاب عليكم إنه هو التواب الرحيم وإذ قلتم يا موسى لن نؤمن لك حتى نرى الله جهرة فأخذتكم الصاعقة وأنتم تنظرون ثم بأسناكم من بعد موتكم لعلكم تشكرون صدق الله مولانا علي العظيم.
Jazakallah ahsan, mashallah. Brother Kareem, would you like to recite?
Not today, because they're coming into my room consistently.
Okay, inshallah, I will continue. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. وإذ آتينا موسى الكتاب والفرقان لعلكم تهتدون وإذ قال موسى لقومه يا قوم إنكم ظلمتم أنفسكم باتخاذكم العجل فتوبوا إلى بارئكم فاقتلوا أنفسكم ذلكم خير لكم عند بارئكم فتاب عليكم إنه هو التواب الرحيم وإذ قلتم يا موسى لن نؤمن لك حتى نرى الله جهرة فأخذتكم الصاعقة وأنتم تنظرون ثم بعثناكم من بعد موتكم لعلكم تشكرون وظللنا عليكم الغمام وأنزلنا عليكم المن والسلوى كلوا من طيبات ما رزقناكم وما ظلمونا ولكن كانوا أنفسهم يظلمون وإذ قلنا ادخلوا هذه القرية فكلوا منها حيث شئتم رغدا وادخلوا الباب سجدا وقولوا حتة نغفر لكم خطاياكم وسنزيد المحسنين فبدل الذين ظلموا قولا غير الذي قيل لهم فأنزلنا على الذين ظلموا رجزا من السماء بما كانوا يفسقون وإذ استسقى موسى لقومه فقلنا اضرب بعصاك الحجر فانفجرت منه 12 عينا قد علم كل أناس مشربهم كلوا واشربوا من رزق الله ولا تعثوا في الأرض مفسدين وإذ قلتم يا موسى لن نصبر على طعام واحد فادع لنا ربك يخرج لنا مما تنبت الأرض من بقلها وكثائها وفومها وعدسها وبصلها قال أتستبدلون الذي هو أدنى بالذي هو خير اهبطوا مصرا فإن لكم ما سألتم وضربت عليهم الذلة والمسكنة وباءوا بغضب من الله ذلك بأنهم كانوا يكفرون بآيات الله ويقتلون النبيين بغير الحق ذلك بما عصوا وكانوا يعتدون إن الذين آمنوا والذين هادوا والنصارى والصابئين من آمن بالله واليوم الآخر وعمل صالحا فلهم أجرهم عند ربهم ولا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون وإذا أخذنا ميثاقكم ورفعنا فوقكم الطور وخذوا ما آتيناكم بقوة واذكروا ما فيه لعلكم تتقون ثم توليتم من بعد ذلك فلولا فضل الله عليكم ورحمته لكنت من الخاسرين ولقد علمتم الذين اعتدوا منكم في السبت فقلنا لهم كونوا قردة خاسئين فجعلناها نقالا لما بين يديها وما خلفها موعظة للمتقين وإذ قال موسى لقومه إن الله يأمركم أن تذبحوا بقرة قالوا أتتخذونا هزوا قال أعوذ بالله أن أكون من الجاهلين قالوا ادعوا لنا ربك يبين لنا ما هي قال إنه يقول إنها بقرة لا فارض ولا بكر أو عوان بين ذلك فافعلوا ما تؤمرون قال ادعوا لنا ربك يبين لنا ما لونها قال إنه يقول إنها بقرة صفراء فاقع لونها تسر الناظرين قالوا ادعوا لنا ربك يبين لنا ما هي إن البقرة تشابه علينا وإنا إن شاء الله لمهتدون قال إنه يقول إنها بقرة لا ظلول تثير الأرض ولا تسقي الحرث مسلمة لا شيء فيها قالوا الآن جئت بالحق فذبحوها وما كادوا يفعلون وإذ قتلتم نفسا فادارأتم فيها والله مخرج ما كنتم تكتمون فقلنا فاضربوه ببعضها كذلك يحيي الله موتى ويريكم آياته لعلكم تأكلون ثم قست قلوبكم من بعد ذلك فهي كالحجارة أو أشد قسوة وإن من الحجارة لما يتفجر منه الأنهار وإن منها لما يشقق فيخرج منه الماء وإن من لما يهبط من خشية الله وما الله بغافل عما تعملون أفتسمعون أن يؤمنوا لكم وقد كان فريق منهم يسمعون كلام الله ثم يحرفون من بعد ما عقلوا وهم يعلمون وإذا لقوا الذين آمنوا قالوا آمنا وإذا خلا بعضهم إلى بعض قالوا أتحدثون بما فتح الله عليكم ليحاجوكم به عند ربكم أفلا تأكلون أولا يعلمون أن الله يعلم ما يسرون وما يعلنون وما منهم أميون لا يعلمون الكتاب إلا آمانية وإنهم إلا يظنون فويل للذين يكتبون الكتاب بأيديهم ثم يقولون هذا من عند الله ليشتروا به ثمنا قليلا فويل لهم مما كتبت أيديهم وويل لهم مما يكسبون وقالوا لن تمسنا النار إلا أياما معدودة قل اتخذتم إن الله عهدا فلن يخلف الله وعده أم تقولون على الله ما لا تعلمون بلى من كسب سيئة وأحاطت به خطيئته فأولئك أصحاب النار هم فيها خالدون والذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات أولئك أصحاب الجنة هم فيها خالدون وإذ أخذنا ميثاق بني إسرائيل لا تعبدون إلا الله وبالوالدين إحسانا ولذي القربى واليتامى والمساكين وقولوا للناس حسنا وأقيموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة ثم توليتم إلا قليلا منكم وأنتم معرضون وإذ أخذنا ميثاقكم لتسفكون دماءكم ولا تخرجون أنفسكم من دياركم ثم أقررتم وأنتم تشهدون ثم أنتم هؤلاء تقتلون أنفسكم وتخرجون فريقا منكم من ديارهم تظاهرون عليهم بالإثم والعدوان وإن يأتوكم أسارى تفادوهم وهو محرم عليكم إخراجهم أفتؤمنون ببعض الكتاب وتكفرون ببعض فما جزاء من يفعل ذلك منكم إلا خزي في الحياة الدنيا ويوم القيامة يردون إلى أشد العذاب وما الله بغافل عما تعملون أولئك الذين اشتروا الحياة الدنيا بالآخرة فلا يخفف عنهم العذاب ولا هم ينصرون ولقد آتينا موسى الكتاب وقفينا من بعده بالرسل وآتينا عيسى ابن مريم البينات وأيدناه بروح القدس أفكلما جاءكم رسول بما لا تهوى أنفسكم استكبرتم ففريقا كذبتم وفريقا تقتلون وقالوا قلوبنا غلف بل لعنهم الله بكفر فقليلا ما يؤمنون ولما جاءهم كتاب من عند الله مصدقا لما معهم وقالوا من قبل يستفتحون على الذين كفروا فلما جاءهم ما عرفوا كفروا به فلعنة الله على الكافرين بئس ما اشتروا به أنفسهم أن يكفروا بما أنزل الله بغيا أن ينزل الله من فضله على من يشاء من عباده فباءوا بغضب على ما غضب وللكافرين عذاب مهين وإذا قيل لهم آمنوا بما أنزل الله قالوا نؤمن بما أنزل علينا ويكفرون بما وراءهم وهو الحق مصدقا لما معهم. قل فلما تقتلون أنبياء الله من قبل إن كنتم مؤمنين ولقد جاءكم موسى بالبينات ثم اتخذتم العجل من بعده وأنتم ظالمون. وإذ أخذنا ميثاقكم ورفعنا فوقكم الطور خذوا ما آتيناكم بقوة واسمعوا قالوا سمعنا وعصينا واشربوا في قلوبهم العجل بكفرهم قل بئس ما يأمركم به إيمانكم إن كنتم مؤمنين. قل إن كانت لكم الدار الآخرة عند الله خالصة من دون الناس فتمنوا الموت إن كنتم صادقين ولا يتمنوا أبدا بما قدمت أيديهم والله عليم بالظالمين. ولا تجدن أحرص الناس على حياة ومن الذين أشركوا يود أحدهم لو يعمر 1000 سنة وما هو بمزحزحه من العذاب أن يعمر والله بصير بما يعملون. قل من كان عدو للجبرائيل فإنه نزله على قلبك بإذن الله مصدقا لما بين يديه وهدى وبشرى للمؤمنين. من كان عدو لله والملائكة ورسله وجبريل وميكال فإن الله عدو للكافرين. ولقد أنزلنا إليك آية بينات وما يكفر بها إلا الفاسقون أو كلما عاهدوا عهدا نبذه فريق منهم بل أكثرهم لا يؤمنون. ولما جاءهم رسول من عند الله مصدقا لما معهم نبذ فريق من الذين أوتوا كتاب الله وراء ظهورهم كأنهم لا يعلمون. واتبعوا ما تتلو الشياطين على ملك سليمان وما كفر سليمان ولكن الشياطين كفروا يعلمون الناس السحر وما أنزل على الملكين ببابل هاروت وماروت وما يعلمنا من أحد حتى يقولوا لا إنما نحن فتنة فلا تكفروا فيتعلمون منهما ما يفرقون به بين المرء والزوج وما هم بضارين به من أحد إلا بإذن الله ويتعلمون ما يضرهم ولا ينفعهم ولقد علموا لمن اشتروا ما له في الآخرة من خلق ولبئس ما شروا بأنفسهم لو كانوا يعلمون. ولو أنهم آمنوا واتقوا لمثوبة من عند الله خير لو كانوا يعلمون. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تقولوا راعنا وقولوا انظرنا واسمعوا وللكافرين عذاب أليم. ما يود الذين كفروا من أهل الكتاب ولا المشركين أن ينزل عليكم من خير من ربكم والله يختص برحمته من يشاء والله ذو الفضل العظيم. ما ننسخ من آية أو ننسها نأت بخير منها أو مثلها ألم تعلم أن الله على كل شيء قدير. ألم تعلم أن الله له ملك السماوات والأرض وما لكم من دون الله من ولي ولا نصير. أم تريدون أن تسألوا رسولكم كما سئل موسى من قبل وما يتبدل الكفر بالإيمان فقد ضل سواء السبيل. ود كثير من أهل الكتاب لو يردونكم من بعد إيمانكم كفرا حسدا من عند أنفسهم من بعد ما تبين لهم الحق فاعفوا واصفحوا حتى يأتي الله بأمره إن الله على كل شيء قدير. وأقيموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة وما تقدموا لأنفسكم من خير تجدوه عند الله إن الله بما تعملون بصير. وقالوا لن يدخل الجنة إلا من كان هودا أو نصارى تلك أمانيهم قل هاتوا برهانكم إن كنتم صادقين بلى من أسلم وجهه لله وهو محسن فله أجر عند ربي ولا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون وقالت اليهود ليست النصارى على شيء وقالت النصارى ليست اليهود على شيء وهم يتلون الكتاب كذلك قال الذين لا يعلمون مثل قولهم فالله يحكم بينهم يوم القيامة فيما كانوا فيه يختلفون ومن أظلم ممن منع مساجد الله أن يذكر فيها اسمه وسعى في خرابها أولئك ما كان لهم أن يدخلها إلا خائفين لهم في الدنيا خزي ولهم في الآخرة عذاب عظيم ولله مشرق المغرب فأينما تولوا فثم وجه الله إن الله واسع عليم وقالوا اتخذ الله ولدا سبحانه بل له ما في السماوات والأرض كل له قانتون بديع السماوات والأرض وإذا قضى أمرا فإنما يقول له كن فيكون وقال الذين لا يعلمون لولا يكلمون الله أو يأتينا آية كذلك قال الذين من قبلهم مثل قولهم تشابهت قلوبهم قد بين الآيات لقوم يؤمنون إنا أرسلناك بالحق بشيرا ونذير ولا تسأل عن أصحاب الجحيم ولن ترضى عنك اليهود ولا النصارى حتى تتبع ملتهم قل إن هدى الله هو الهدى ولن اتبعت أهواءهم بعد الذي جاءك من العلم ما لك من الله من ولي ولا نصير الذين آتيناهم الكتاب يتلونه حقا تلاوته أولئك يؤمنون به ومن يكفر به فأولئك هم الخاسرون يا بني إسرائيل اذكروا نعمتي التي أنعمت عليكم وأني فضلتكم على العالمين واتقوا يوما لا تجزي نفس عن نفس شيء ولا يقبل منها عدل ولا تنفعها شفاعة ولا هم ينصرون وإذ ابتلى إبراهيم ربه بكلمات فأتمهن قال إني جاعلك للناس إماما قال من ذريتك قال لا ينال أحد الظالمين وإذ جعلنا البيت مثابة للناس وأمنا واتخذوا من مقام إبراهيم مصلى وعهدنا إلى إبراهيم وإسماعيل أن طهر بيت للطائفين والعاكفين وركع السجود وإذ قال إبراهيم رب اجعل هذا بلدا آمنا وارزق أهله من الثمرات من آمن منهم بالله واليوم الآخر قال ومن كفر فأمتعه قليلا ثم أضطره إلى عذاب النار وبئس المصير وإذ يرفع إبراهيم القواعد من البيت وإسماعيل ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم ربنا واجعلنا مسلمين لك ومن ذريتنا أمة مسلمة لك وأرنا مناسكنا وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم ربنا وابعث فيهم رسولا منهم يتلو عليهم آياتك ويعلمهم الكتاب والحكمة ويزكيهم إنك أنت العزيز الحكيم ومن يرغب عن ملة إبراهيم إلا من سافه نفسه ولقد استفيناه في الدنيا وإنه في الآخرة لمن الصالحين إذ قال له ربه أسلم قال أسلمت رب العالمين ووصى بها إبراهيم بنيه ويعقوب يا بني إن الله اصطفى لكم الدين فلا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون أم كنتم شهداء إذ حضر يعقوب الموت إذ قال لبنيه ما يعبدون من بعده قالوا
من بعدي
أم كنتم شهداء إذ حضر يعقوب الموت إذ قال لبنيه ما تعبدون من بعد قالوا نعبد إلهك وإله آبائك إبراهيم وإسماعيل وإسحاق إله واحد ونحن له مسلمون تلك أمة قد خلت لها ما كسبت ولكم ما كسبت ولا تسألون عما كانوا يعملون وقالوا كونوا هودا أو نصارى تهتدوا قل بل ملة إبراهيم حنيفا وما كان من المشركين قولوا آمنا بالله وما أنزل إلينا وما أنزل إلى إبراهيم وإسماعيل وإسحاق ويعقوب والأسباط ما أوتي موسى وعيسى وما أوتي النبيين من ربهم لا نفرق بين أحد منهم ونحن له مسلمون فإن آمنوا بمثل ما آمنتم به فقد اهتدوا وإن تولوا فإنما هم في شقاق فسيكفيهم الله وهو السميع العليم صبغة الله ومن أحسن من الله صبغة ونحن له عابدون قالوا أتحاجوننا في الله وربنا وربكم ولنا أعمالنا ولكم أعمالكم ونحن له مخلصون أم تقولون إن إبراهيم وإسماعيل وإسحاق ويعقوب والأسباط كانوا هودا أو نصارى قل أأنتم أعلم الله أعلم أم الله ومن أظلم ممن كتم شهادة عنده من الله وما الله بغافل عما تعملون تلك أمة قد خلت لها ما كسبت ولكم ما كسبتم ولا تسألون عما كانوا يعملون صدق الله مولانا العظيم اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. That completes the first para of the Quran. Inshallah, every Sunday we will try to complete a para. If any brothers want to recite a surah, an ayat, everybody is welcome. Now, before we listen to the speech of Brother Meesum Zaidi, we will recite Surah Fatiha for all of our brothers and sisters, especially those who have passed away recently and those that have nobody to recite Surah Fatiha for them. So, Rahimallah man yakra'ul Fatiha. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد اللهم ابعث هذه سورة الفاتحة والإخلاص للمؤمنين والمؤمنات للحاضرين للحاضرات برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. Now we will have Brother Meesum Zaidi with his lecture.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh again to everyone. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. I seek refuge in Allah from the shaitan, the accursed. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent and the Merciful. Sallallahu alayka ya Sahib al-Zaman Adrikni. Begin with Dua Faraj in honor of the Imam of our time. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Allahumma kalli waliyaka al-Hajjat ibn al-Hasan صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. Translation of the Dua of Faraj is Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. O Allah, please send blessings upon Muhammad wa Muhammad. O Allah, be for your representative, the Hujjah, son of Al-Hasan al-Askari al-Islam. Their blessings be on him and on his forefathers, in this hour and in every hour, a guardian, a protector, a leader, a helper, a proof, and an eye, until you make him live on the earth in obedience to you and cause him to live in it for a long time. By your mercy, the most merciful of all those who show mercy. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, I would like to begin this first session of the Islamic belief system. I would like to welcome you all in the name of Allah to learning about this very important topic of aqaid. So this will be an introduction, and we will begin with talking about the belief system in general. So this Islamic belief system, our set of beliefs that we have, it represents the most important dimension in our lives. And just as a note, I am taking everything that I am going to be talking about from Al-Hujjah Seminary, which these classes were held by Sayyid Muhammad Baqir Al-Qadwini. So inshallah, this thawab goes to him, his family, inshallah. So the Islamic belief system represents the most important dimension in our lives. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran that He created us to worship Him. He did not create the jinn or the ins except to worship Him. And worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how do we do that? Well, it begins with ma'rifah, means to know Him, to believe in Him, and what He wants us to believe in. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he sent a companion named Ma'adh to Yemen, he told him, "O Ma'adh, the first thing that you should invite them to is the belief in the one God, and it starts with the belief system. Once they come to know Allah, then let them know that you have branches of faith." So everything begins with ma'rifah, the knowing of the Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, meaning that everything begins with the belief system. We are Muslims, right? So do we know the meaning of the definition of the word Muslim? Well, it's highly misunderstood, and most people think that it comes from the word salam, which means peace. So most people think that Muslims are, the definition of Muslim is one that is a person that is peaceful. Islam is indeed a peaceful religion, and Muslims have to be peaceful and decent human beings. The Prophet ﷺ said, "A true Muslim is one from whom you are safe from his hands, his actions, and his tongue." So a Muslim should be peaceful, but that's not what the definition of a Muslim is. Islam comes from the word which means to submit, to submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to accept and embrace the commandments of Allah. There's a difference between knowledge, knowing, and meaning what you know, and the difference between that and what you believe in. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran speaks about the people of Musa alayhi salam, Prophet Musa alayhi salam, and to the Pharaoh, the evil ones among the people of the Pharaoh, Allah said that they rejected the truth even though their souls had certainty of the truth. They had knowledge. It means that they knew the truth, but they rejected it. The people of the Pharaoh, they did have knowledge. They knew what was right and what was wrong, but they failed to believe in it. Knowledge is when you have facts. It's information when you come to know something. But Islam wants us to go a further step than that. In addition to acquiring knowledge, once we've gained that and found that pure knowledge, we must submit to that knowledge and accept it within our hearts. That is the meaning of Islam. That's what a Muslim means. The one who has come to know the religion of God, and he or she accepts the religion of God and submits to it. So the Islamic belief system, in Arabic, we refer to it as aqaid. The term aqaid, it's a plural form of the Arabic word aqidah, the singular, which comes from the derivative of aqd or uqda. Aqd means to bind or to knot. Uqda is a knot. What does the Islamic belief system have to do with a knot? Binding something. When you have a knot, you're tying something. When you have knowledge and you bring your heart to accept that knowledge, it's like tying a knot. You take your heart around the belief system and you tie your heart around it. It's figurative and symbolic, of course, but that's what we're essentially doing. Symbolically, we are tying our heart around and embracing it, embracing that knowledge that we have accepted like a knot. And knots are tough and they're hard to untie. So that's what the meaning of aqaid is in the Arabic language. So essentially, we wrap our heart or tie our heart around the Islamic knowledge, and it's no longer just facts that we know. Facts that you know come and go, but the Islamic belief system that we have, it's fixed, it stays. That's the definition of a Muslim. Somebody that submits to Allah. And submission comes at very different levels. You have the submission of someone who just at least in theory accepts that there is one God only. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is his messenger. You have many people like that. That faith doesn't really escape their tongues. They just believe in it in theory. Then you have the submission of someone who is like Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. The Quran describes to us his submission, how he and his son Ismail alayhi salam submitted themselves to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hazrat Ibrahim instructed to his sons not to die except as Muslims who embrace the religion of Allah, except as people that submit to Allah. That is exactly why you'll find the religion of God since the day of Prophet Adam alayhi salam, since he was sent to this earth, until this day is called Islam. Because God wants the human beings to submit to his laws and commandments. So from the beginning of time till now, the original religion of Allah has always been Islam. But what has been different is what is known as the Sharia, the code of conduct and the legal details and rituals. It is different from one religion to another. So the Sharia of Prophet Musa alayhi is what is called Judaism. The Sharia of Prophet Isa alayhi became what is known as Christianity. However, all these religions are Islam because Islam represents that path that brings you to submit to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The most important aspect of our life is our belief system. Therefore, it's incumbent on us to pursue our beliefs, investigate what our beliefs are, and to develop the proper beliefs. The first thing that God will question us in the grave is about our beliefs. Who is your Lord? What is your book? Who is your prophet? After Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks us these questions, then he will ask us about our actions. Everything starts with our aqaid, our beliefs, and hence you find the verses of the Holy Quran when Allah is addressing the human beings, commanding them to do good, always states first those who believe, and then he says, and offer good deeds. Good deeds are always preceded by beliefs because beliefs form the foundation of our actions. When we speak of aqaid and the belief system in the religion of Allah, we have three core beliefs. In fact, every religion of Allah, monotheistic beliefs, the Abrahamic religions, they are founded on these three core beliefs. And the first one is obviously monotheism, the belief in the one God, meaning and what we call tawheed, the oneness of Allah. That is the basis of every religion of Allah that He has sent to humanity. Second is prophethood, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent messengers who communicate His message and show us the right path. God chose to send us prophets and messengers, not directly communicating to us. Allah could have communicated to each of us directly, right? But He chose to do it through messengers, through representatives. That is why when we communicate to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we should also go through means, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He decided to communicate with us and to send signs to us, He chose a human being. He chose certain individuals and made them representatives of Him. In the same way, for us to worship Him and to communicate back to Him, we should go through the same individuals that brought that message to us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decided to send us His message through Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
So in the same way that if we want to worship Allah, the same way that He communicated to us, we should go back through that same means of communication to reach Him. Because some Muslims will tell us and look at us and say, just you and Allah, right? You don't need any prophet and any imam. This is all shirk. Why should you turn to an imam when you can directly turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? But if Allah communicated to us directly, then that would be, their argument. But Allah communicated to us through prophets and messengers and imams. So it only makes sense that we go back to Him through those people, and we have to seek a means, as Allah mentions in the Quran, to worship. So that was the second core belief. The third one is the belief in the Day of Judgment, and these are our pillars of faith. So we've probably mostly heard that the pillars of belief are 5, right? Adalat and Imamat included. Adalat is the justice of Allah, which usually is introduced to us as the second pillar of faith. But in reality, it's an extension of Tawheed. It's an extension of the believing in the oneness of Allah. The fifth one that we didn't talk about yet is Imamah, the belief in the successorship of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which is also an extension of another pillar, which is prophethood. So when you count all these 5, you have Tawheed, Tawheed, Adalat, Nabuwat, Imamat, and Qiyamat. But when you look at them at its core, it boils down to 3: Tawheed, Nabuwat, and Qiyamat, or Ma'ad. This is the core of all religions of Allah, and every prophet of God who was appointed and dispatched by Allah to preach to humanity preached all these 3 core principles. When you examine these 3 core principles with their 2 extensions, the justice of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Imamah, those who represent the prophet after him, meaning Imamah, you find that while religion is so comprehensive and detailed and could appear to be complicated, at its very core, it's very basic. People say, with all these religions out there, with all these ideas and sects and ideologies, how do I know that Islam is the right religion? I can't spend my entire life investigating. I can't spend years studying Hinduism, Buddhism, Judaism, Christianity, and all these thousands of other religions. There are more than 4,000 religions out there. How can I go and investigate all of them? How do I know that Islam is the right path? If you examine these 3 or 5 core beliefs and principles, it becomes very clear that the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as revealed in the Quran, is the correct path. This is the process that you should go through very briefly. There are 4,000 religions out there, right? The first question that an intellectual human being should ask is, well, I didn't come here through my own efforts, right? So somebody or someone or some system should have put me here on this earth, right? Therefore, I have a creator. I know that I have a creator, and that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, according to some religions. And I know that this being that created me does not need anybody. He has no partners, so there is only one God. If you think about it, the beauty of design dictates that there is a designer. If you go to, as the Imam Sadiq al-Islam said, that if you go to a desert and you see a building, you're not going to just think that it came out of nowhere. Of course, there was a creator, there was a designer. Likewise, if you look at the entire universe points to the existence of a designer and a creator. People can ask, how do we know that the designer and the creator are the same? Well, was the designer created? If it was created, then that means there was a creator before him. So that means the creator designed the designer. That means there is only one God. So our intellect will point us to only one God. Now, when we're examining these 4,000 religions, any religion that preaches idolatry or says that there is no God, such as atheism, which is a type of religion, of course, you can immediately cross all those out, and you don't have to investigate all those 4,000 religions. Let's say you have a list of all those religions. All you need to do is start with this first point. Which of these religions preach that there is one God? Because I know I have one creator, and I didn't just pop out of existence, out of nowhere. Even if I believe in evolution and everything that these scientists are telling me, there is an intelligent being who put the system in place. Evolution cannot exist on its own, right? It requires an intelligent creator who created the system. So you can cross out every other religion that says otherwise. Then you come to the next one, which is the justice of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You will find many sects within Islam itself rejecting this justice of Allah, For example, the earlier Ash'arites, they would reject Allah's justice. They would say that Allah can do whatever He wants. And if Allah wants to do injustice, He can, and no one will stop Him. Now, there's a hint of truth within what they're saying, that Allah can do what He wants, but He chooses not to. As the Quran says, Allah has made incumbent upon Himself mercy, meaning He has made it wajib, and He will always be merciful. And it is against Allah's wisdom and His justice to do or commit injustice. Likewise, we have the other religions out there, such as the belief of the Christians, where they have the belief of the original sin, that all human beings have inherited the sins of our forefather Adam alayhi salam. And this is against the justice of Allah. You clearly see that, because if somebody kills a person halfway across the world, do I or you ever get the blame for that? No, of course not. Why would we get the blame for something that somebody did thousands of years ago? That's against the justice of Allah. No child inherits the sins of their father or their mother. So clearly that is against the justice and the wisdom of the designer that created us. And that designer created us with wisdom, and He would not have created us without a purpose. So when you see certain things being attributed to God, you find that they defy His justice. So you immediately cross out all these religions and sects because your intellect tells you that God must be just. Then you come to prophethood and the messengers of God. Since God does not talk to us directly, since we've been born, we haven't had a revelation, have we? And we haven't even had dreams where we're being talked to by Allah. So Allah must have sent us a message somehow, right? And if we look throughout history, we have messengers that claim to preach the message of this one God without wanting anything in return. They're all truthful, and they came with miracles. So we must at least pay attention to what they're saying. If one after another, these, according to Islam, 124,000 people, messengers or prophets, came one after another preaching the oneness of God, and this is exactly what our intellect is pointing to, and there must be truth in what they're saying. Then, after all this system of prophethood, if prophethood ends, as Islam says, then according to the justice of God, we must have somebody after the prophets to show us what the right path is, because the prophets and the messengers, they bring the message. So there must be somebody that defends the message, because we as Muslims, or if we accept that Islam says that the previous religions were changed by the people, then we must accept that God has to be sending somebody that protects the religion. Then we have the belief of imamat, which is within the 5 principles of beliefs. So these core principles in our intellect direct us to the point that God will not leave us without a guide. Just as God sent us messengers and prophets that bring the message, Allah must have also assigned individuals and representatives who guard the faith. That's the meaning of wilayah when we talk about the guardianship of the Ahlul Bayt. The Imams of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam did not bring any new religion or Sharia. Their main role was to protect the religion of God that the messenger brought down. They sacrificed for the religion of God. The intellect will dictate to us to the idea of imamah, that God will not leave people without a guide. So automatically you can cross out all those sects that say today that you do not have an infallible person from Allah or representative of Allah on earth, and that kings and rulers, they are your leaders, and we have to follow them, which doesn't make sense, because we have to only believe and follow somebody that Allah has chosen. You can't just follow somebody that's self-appointed, right? They can be wrong, they can make mistakes. So if we're trying to find the right way, the truth has to be perfect. It cannot be fallible. It has to be infallible. It has to be from God. And then we come to the final principle, the day of judgment. We can cross out any religion that does not believe in an afterlife, because if God exists, He is wise and He has a purpose. He did not create us in vain. Therefore, God must have a day of judgment, a day of reckoning, in order to reward the doers of good, because this world is not a place of God's reward or punishment. Many people work so hard day and night. They sacrifice in this world, and they don't really see that reward that a generous God would give. The evildoers, they commit acts of injustice. And you see the tyrants and oppressors getting away with their crimes, right? But there must be a day of judgment. Otherwise, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will have created this life in vain. If He created all these people and some of them suffer, and some of them commit acts of injustice, and everybody dies and there's no afterlife, what's the point? But the intellect points to an afterlife where everybody is given their just dues. Therefore, we find that all these beliefs are things that we come to the conclusion of intellectually on our own. That all this is something that we don't really need a person, somebody to follow in this regard. Meaning, we should never do taqleed in this regard. Meaning, we should never emulate or blindly follow anybody just because they believe in it. Meaning, just because our parents believe in Islam should not be the reason that we believe in Islam. We have to rationalize, we have to search, we have to find the proofs, and then we have to believe in them. That's true belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's what He will question us within the grave. He will question us about these beliefs, and we can't make an excuse that such and such person said it, so I'm following them. We have to personally, on our own, come to the conclusion that these are the core beliefs, so that when we examine Islam at its core, it's a very simple and rational and logical thing. Even if there are tens of thousands of religions out there, once you look at these core principles and see which religion is compatible with these intellectual core principles, those religions that are compatible, you can investigate them. But those that are not, you can automatically cross them out. And you don't have to go and spend decades to research every single religion. While it may be complicated, or while it may seem complicated rather, in reality it's very simple. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would not burden us with something that we do not have the capacity to bear. It's something that someone who just becomes a mature 15-year-old boy, for example, a teenager, can have a basic understanding of these beliefs, and that is the religion of Allah. So again, the most important aspect of our religion is our belief system. And inshallah, this was just the introduction, part one. Inshallah, next week I will speak continuing further on this topic. I will hand the spotlight to Maulana Ali Raza. Is there?
Yes, just give me one moment, please.
Let's recite a loud salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil faraj. If anybody has any questions, please ask me.
I have a question.
Yes.
What's your question, time?
How do we make Allah happy?
Well, like I talked about in the beginning, to worship Allah, we need to have ma'rifah of Him. We have to know Him. We have to believe in what He believes in. And many places in the Quran, He has given us commands. So if we want to make Allah happy, we have to follow His commands. So if He tells us to do good deeds and to believe, we have to do both of them. We can't just believe and not do good deeds. And we can't just do good deeds and not believe. So the key to make Allah happy is first to believe and then to do good deeds. Did that answer your question?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. If you have any other questions, please let me know. And inshallah, Maulana Ali Raza, Alvi.
Jazakallah, mashallah. May Allah accept your efforts. May Allah increase your knowledge. Jazakallah, beautiful speech. Now we will continue and I will give a lecture on Imam Ali Raza. Say it loud salawat, please, so I can start.
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد وعجل فرجهم.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين والعاقبة لأهل التقوى واليقين. الصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد ثم الصلاة والسلام على أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المنتجبين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. أما بعد فقد قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه المجيد وهو أصدق الصادقين: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والضحى والليل إذا سجى صلوات
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد.
Respected brothers and sisters and viewers in Iman, Salamun Alaikum wa Rahmatullahi wa Barakatuh. We start our lecture by congratulating the Imam of our time, Imam Zaman Ajjalallahu Farajahu Sharif, on the auspicious occasion of the birth anniversary of our eighth Imam, Imam Ali al-Raza, salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayh. Secondly, we congratulate the Marajas, the Ayatollahs, the students of the Hawzas. And thirdly, I congratulate each and every person who is watching this, wherever you might be. As we all know, this week it was the wiladat of our eighth Imam. My lecture will be a combination of a few things. First, I will mention some historical events. Then I will mention some noble traits of the Imam. I will mention some miracles, a story or two, and then at the end, the advice the Imam left for us. Starting my lecture, and we start with the historical event. In the year 193 AH, after Harun passes away, there is a conflict between his sons, Ma'mun and Amin. Both of them want power. Who does the power go to? This leads to a bloody war, which continues for either 5 or 6 years. While this war is going on, what does our Imam do? Imam Raza, he starts to preach. His message is being broadcasted throughout the whole world. After 5 or 6 years of the bloody battle, what happens? Amin gets assassinated. When he gets assassinated, Ma'mun becomes the Khalifa. Now, when Ma'mun becomes the Khalifa, he has a companion by the name of Fadil ibn Sahil. Now, this is a very evil man. He has a very evil mindset and the way he thinks. Now, one day, Ma'mun and him, they are having a meeting. Ma'mun is thinking of ways to defeat the Imam. They are having a meeting on how to defeat Imam Raza. So Fazil tells him, he said, we couldn't defeat his father when we had him in prison. When we tortured him, when your father tortured him, when he was in the dungeon, still the growth of his Shias was continuing. Knowledge was being given to the Shias. Then Fazil says, why don't you invite the Imam so you can have a close eye on him? He will be right close to you. So the Imam, he leaves Medina and he starts to migrate towards Khurasan. Now, while The Imam is going there. He stops at many places. I will mention a few of those later on. But before I move along, there are some characteristics that our Imam is known by. There are some names that our Imam is known by. I will mention them and then I will continue on. One of his titles is Al-Sabir. Just like his father, he was very patient. The second one, Al-Zaki, pure, noble, honorable. The third, Al-Wafi, loyal to his community and to his Shias. Siraj Allah. The fourth is Siraj Allah, the lamp of Allah. What does the lamp do? For example, if you are in a room or if you are anywhere and you are lost and you turn the lamp on, it shows you the way. The Imam is Siraj Allah, the lamp of Allah. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he has a hadith, and I will only mention some parts of it, in which he says the Ahlul Bayt are like the stars in the sky. If you are lost and you need to be guided, you look up into the skies and you will know where you are. He was addressing a man who used to be a fisher and he used to go out on his boat. And the Prophet told him, just like when you are lost in the seas and you need to find your ways, you look at the stars. The Prophet says, if you are lost in this world and you need to find your way, you need a navigation system, it is my household. The Ahl Bayt alayhimus salam. That was the fourth title. The fifth is Zamin, and we all know the story of Zamine Ahu Raza with the deer. I will not mention that. I will move along, and I will mention two different stories mentioning why the Imam is Zamin. In the time of the Imam, there was a man who was committed for stealing something, and they were ready to cut his hands off. Mamun was ready to cut his hands off. Before he cut his hands off, he said, I have three reasons why you cannot cut my hands off. Number one, you and your government has made it so harsh on us that we cannot even feed our families. A loaf of bread, we cannot even afford it. That is why I had to go out and steal. Number two, he said, you are of illegitimate birth and you do not own this throne. And that means you are a slave. You are the son of a slave, so then that makes you a slave yourself. And you being a slave, you cannot kill me because I am a free man of Allah. That is the second reason you cannot cut my hand off. And the third reason you cannot cut my hand off is because I am related to the family of Prophet Muhammad. I am a Sayyid. All of these questions got to the head of Ma'mun. He said, I do not know what to do. Go call Ali Rida. They call the Imam. The Imam comes. They tell the questions to the Imam. The Imam responds and he says, yes, this man is true. And I, Ali Rida, give the guarantee that he is safe. Zamin means the guarantor. So the Imam saved that man and saved his limbs from being cut off. That was the first story of the Imam known as Zamini Ahuraza. The second story, it is a very recent story. I read it in one of the books. It is in 1998. There was a Canadian man. One day he says, I was going home. It was very cold. There was snow. This is taking place in Toronto. He says, it was very cold. I was going home. While I was going home, I saw there was some bright lights and there were people at the doors. He says, as I get close by, I notice it is a mosque. All of the people standing there, they welcomed me. They said, Ahlan wa sahlan, come in. He said, I went inside and the Imam was giving a speech on Imam Raza. He says, I had no idea who Mr. Raza was. He said, I sat there because of the way they treated me, the way of the akhlaq. They treated me as I was one of their own. I go in, I sit down, I listen to the lecture. The lecture finishes. They are giving a book. And the book says the life story of Imam Ali al-Raza. He says, I took the book and I went home. He says, now while I was ready to sleep, I start reading the book. And I am so satisfied with the book that I fall asleep. He says, once I fall asleep, in my sleep there is a man with a face, the nur, the light is coming out so strong that I cannot directly look at him. I approach this man and I ask this man, who are you? He says, I am the man they call Ali Raza. I am the one you are reading about. He says, I thought this was a dream. First night, I woke up and I left it as a dream. Second night, same exact thing happens. He says, the man comes into my dream and he tells me, he says, I am the one who they call Ali al-Raza. If you want to visit me, go to Fala ibn Fala. He has your ticket arranged. He has everything arranged for you. He says, I thought this was a dream once again. The third night, he says, when I woke up, it was the same exact thing. It was the same person in my dream. He says, go into Fulan ibn Fulan on this street. There is a man by the name of Muhammad. You will go to him. You will tell him Imam Raza has sent me. He will approve everything. He says, you know what? I will try it. He says, I pack my stuff. I pack my luggage. I go to this person's office. The person's name is Muhammad. He says, where have you been? I have been waiting for you for 3 days. He says, here is your ticket. He gives him a ticket to go to the ziyarat of Imam Raza. He says, I look on the ticket. It says my name, my first and last name. I take the ticket. I go on the airplane. I arrive to Iran. He says, now I go out of the airport, and this whole story has been written in the book, and the person who is telling the story are those people that stay at the shrine, the volunteers, the Khuddam. He is telling the story to the Khuddam, and the Khuddam tells the story to one of the shuyukh, and they write it in their books. That's how we got it. Now he says, I come, I do not speak any Farsi, I do not speak any Arabic. The only thing I speak is English. I land at the airport and I tell the driver, I want to go visit Mr. Raza. The taxi guy says, okay, sure. He takes him to the shrine of Imam Raza. He gets there, he asks people around, he says, I have a heavy bag on. I am asking everybody, I would like to meet Mr. Raza. He meets the one who was working. He meets one of them. He asks them, where is Mr. Raza? He says, he is this way. He points to one of the courtyards. Then he takes him to another courtyard. He keeps asking, where is Imam Raza? They get to one of the closest courtyards of Imam Raza. And he says, where is Mr. Raza? He says, Imam Raza is right there. Now he says, what clothes is he going to be wearing? How does he look like? How do I approach him? The Khadim says, once you go in there, you will understand everything. He says, I started to walk. While I am walking, I see there are hundreds and thousands of people. They are going around in a circle. There is a golden shrine, and everybody is reciting their supplications, and there are some who are crying. I get close to the shrine, and I ask somebody, where is Mr. Raza? Mr. Raza told me, if you come here, I will meet you. He says, he is right here. He has passed away thousands of years ago. Now this man, he was confused. He didn't know what to do. He goes back to the khadim or the servant. He tells them, I'm very tired. I need to go to a hotel, get a room and sleep. He says, sure. He takes him to the hotel. Now this man, he falls asleep. When he falls asleep, Imam Raza comes into his dream and he says, I invited you to my city. This is my city. Now you are here and you are welcome in my city. So recite after me. He starts to recite, Ashhadu anna Muhammadur Rasulullah. He says, recite the kalima, La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah, Aliyun Waliyullah. He says, I recite the whole kalima. Once I finish the kalima, I wake up. I wake the khadim up. He wakes the khadim up and he says, I want to go to the ziyarat of Mr. Raza. He says, wait, it is 3 a.m. He says, no, I need to go right now. He goes to the ziyarat of Imam Raza. He starts to thank Imam Raza for everything. He stays there a few hours. He comes back. He goes to sleep again. The Imam comes into his dream again and he says, this is my city. I order you to accept the religion of Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. So the man said, I accepted the religion of Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. I started practicing the religion of Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. So the moral of the story is, my brothers and sisters, that the Imam is Zamin, the guarantor. If the Imam can give the guarantee of a man who has never even heard his name, who didn't even know what Islam was, who didn't even know who the Shias were, how can he not be the guarantor for us? How can he not give the guarantee for us? We have been saying Hussein, Hussein, Ali, Ali for most of our lives. Yes, that was the second story of why the Imam is known as Zamin. Now, some noble traits of the Imam. Imam has a companion by the name of Ibrahim al-Abbas. He says there were few traits I noticed of the Imam. The Imam, he never turned his face away from anybody when they were speaking. You and I, when people are speaking to us, unfortunately, we start to look at our phone and we start to wonder and not pay no attention to the Imam. The Imam was asked, why don't you ever turn away from anybody? He said, this is against the akhlaq. This is against the manners. This is against mannerism. The Imam, Ibrahim al-Abbas says, the Imam never refused a favor of anybody, whether he was Shia, whether he was Muslim or not. The Imam would always say labbaik or yes to the favors. The Imam, no matter how tired he was, he never stretched out his legs before the audience. The Imam, he never called his servants by any names that they would not approve of. You and I, we like to give nickname to our brothers. We like to insult our brothers. So you see the manners of the Imam. You see the characteristics of the Imam. One time, Abu Ismail al-Sindi says, we were in the bazaar. There was a man in the bazaar who was going around from shop to shop, and he was speaking a certain language that none of us could understand. The Imam approaches him, he speaks to him in a language that I didn't even understand. After he leaves, the Imam solves his issue. Abu Ismail says, I asked him, what language was this? The Imam responded and he said, oh Abu Ismail, this was the language of Hind. Abu Ismail says, oh my Imam, may I sacrifice my life upon you? How do you speak Sindhi or Hindi? The Imam says, oh Abu Ismail, have you not heard the hadith from our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, in which he stated that we, the Ahl Bayt, are fluent in all of the languages of this world, the languages of the other worlds, and all of the languages of the animals. Allah. This was the knowledge of the Imam. Moving along, let me share another story of the knowledge of the Imam. Yasir al-Khadim says there was a group of people that used to speak Slavic or Romanian. There was one of them who got hurt. He couldn't explain where he had been hurt. The Imam was called upon, and the Imam spoke in Slavic language or Romanian. He spoke in Romanian and he explained to the doctor what was wrong. See, this was the knowledge of your Imam. So we mentioned some traits of the Imam. We mentioned the stories of the Imam. Now there's a matter, Imam, when the Imam, before I mention this, Imam, before he is about to leave the world, he always writes some advice for his Shias. And he writes a letter to all of the Shias explaining many things. I will only highlight some of the things. In the letter, Imam writes, "Oh my Shias, there are some sins that will hurt you in this world, and there are some sins that will hurt you in your grave, and then there are some sins that will hurt you in the hereafter. The sins that will hurt you in the grave are the following. The Imam says, murdering an innocent soul which had no idea, killing someone. Nowadays, we see there are so many murders going around. Number 2, fornication. Number 3, stealing. Number 4, drinking. Number 5, being disrespectful to parents. This can be as small as saying hold on to your mother or your father. As soon as your parents call upon you, it becomes obligatory for you to answer to them. No matter what you are doing, no matter if you are playing your favorite game or you're watching your favorite show on Netflix, as soon as your parents call upon you, respond to them right away. The 6th, fleeing from the midst of the battle. The 7th, unjustly taking property of brothers. Number 8, gambling. Number 9, defrauding people in weight and measurement. Number 10, giving up hope on Allah. This is a very dangerous one. There are some people in our communities, when you ask them, why have you stopped praying or supplicating, or why have you gone away from the religion? They say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not even listen to our du'as. Why is this? They have lost hope. Our 8th Imam says this is a very dangerous act. This will cause many to go away from religion. So avoid doing this. Yes. Number 12, aiding. Number 12, taking immoral oaths. Number 13, withholding or delaying payments from someone's dues or fees. You owe somebody money, and you are not paying him on purpose. Especially nowadays when there's a pandemic going on, when brothers and sisters, they need all of their money, and they need financial assistance. If you are holding someone's money, according to the Imam, this will hurt you in the grave. Number 15, lying. Number 17, arrogance. Number 17, wasting your time. There are many people, even in this time, when many things we cannot do, we cannot go out, or if you go out, you must cover yourself. Even in this 2 or 3 month time period, there are some people who the COVID-19 couldn't even change. In fact, they have become worse. Why? Because they are always in their homes, they're always on social media. They have become worse as a person. They have become worse as a human being. Yes. Number 18, taking Hajj lightly and your Islamic duties lightly. Number 19, fighting Allah's friend. Number 20, accompanying oneself with amusement and killing the time of useless things. Number 21, neglecting repentance. Those were some of the things the Imam mentioned in the letter where he gave advice to us. Now, what is the merit of visiting the shrine of Imam Raza? May Allah give us the tawfiq when this pandemic is over, when COVID-19 is over, inshallah. We pray that it is going to be over very quickly so we can do the ziyarah. A man approaches our ninth Imam and he asks, what is the reward of performing ziyarat of Imam Raza? He says, whoever does the ziyarat of Imam Raza, he or she will get 1,000 reward of Hajj. The man says, 1,000 Hajj. The Imam responds and he says, I swear upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who holds all of my breath and who holds my life in his hand, whoever goes to the ziyarat of Imam Raza, he or she will achieve 100,000 reward of Hajj. Allahu Akbar. May Allah give us the tawfiq that we can go to ziyarah. Now, concluding my speech, because I only have a few minutes left, I will skip all of these and I will move along to the advice of the Imam. The Imam, he has left some advice for you and I. قال إمام رضا اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. The Imam says doing 6 things without doing 6 others is self-mockery. If you do not do the following 6 things without doing the following 6, you are making fun of yourself. You are making a fool out of yourself. Ya Ibn Rasulullah, what are these 6 things? Number 1, asking forgiveness from Allah verbally without repenting with the heart. Brothers and sisters, verbally saying Astaghfirullah Rabbi wa atubu ilayh is easy. Subhanallah, MashaAllah, Jazakallah. Verbally, it is very simple. But saying it with the pure intention and meaning it with the pure intention, with sidq qalb, with a true heart, with a soul heart, that's completely different. The Imam wants you, whenever you recite prayer, whenever you cite supplication, whatever it might be, ayat or 2, whatever it might be, the Imam wants you to think about it. Contemplate on the ayat that you recite. Verbally, whatever you say, mean it with your heart. Number 2, asking for Allah's help without undertaking any effort. There are many people who wish they want to become millionaires and billionaires. But if you ask those people who are high on the charts, how did you get here? They will say, we put some effort into it. We put some work into it. We stood up all those nights in colleges, or we stood up all nights, or we worked 18 hours a day. Why? To get to where we are today. Just like that, brothers and sisters, if you want to have the highest ranks in heaven, you need to do work. You need to worship in the middle of the night. If you want your spirituality to reach the peaks, you have to do the not wajibs only, but also the mustahabs. If you want your taqwa to become strong, it will not become strong overnight. It is a process, an ongoing process which needs to be continued. That was the second thing. The third, making a firm resolution to do something without taking due precautions. You say, oh Allah, for example, if I get into this school, I will perform a whole Quran. I will recite the whole Quran. I will perform 2 rakats. If I get this job, I will perform these actions, but at the same time, you are not avoiding haram action. You are backbiting, you are listening to music, you are doing those things which are prevented. This. Number 4, having a wish to stay away from hellfire without reframing from lusts. You say you want to go to heaven. You say you want to go to paradise. You say you are afraid of the hellfire, but you cannot control your lusts. Your lusts get in your way. Your lustful actions prevent you from going towards heaven. And they are making you take steps towards hell. Yes. The 5th, asking Allah for paradise without enduring related hardships. Everything comes with hardships, brothers and sisters. Going into heaven, it has its hardships. See, being religious is tough. Being non-religious is very easy. Reciting the Quran is very tough. Not reciting it is very easy. You can waste your time anywhere you want. Having foul language is very easy. But refraining from foul language and having a pious way of speaking is hard. So if you want to take steps towards heaven, you must take the hardships that come with it. Last thing, and I am running out of time. 6th and the last thing, remembering Allah without anticipating to encounter Him. There are some brothers and sisters in our communities. They live their lives like they will never even meet their Lord. They walk on the earth as if there is no hereafter. They walk around even disencouraging their family members, disencouraging us, disencouraging their brothers and sisters. Why are you going to the Husseiniya? What is the point of going on Zoom and doing this? They walk around doing all of these without knowing that their Lord is waiting for them. Yes. And with this, in conclusion, my brothers and sisters, our 8th Imam and all of our Imams, they have given us the tools which will lead us to the hereafter. The A'imma have given us all of the tools. The Ahadith, if you ponder upon them, if you follow them, then there will be nobody who will go astray from the straight path. It is us who fail. It is us who do not have time for the Bible. It is us who do not have time for Islam. I will end with these words that invite all of your brothers. Every Sunday, inshallah, we will have Sunday school from 3 to 5 p.m. And inshallah, we will try to have workshops to teach us how to pray, how to do wudu, and if you have any suggestions, you might give it to us. For our sisters, there's a Saturday sister school from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. every Saturday. You can contact Sister Farhad Batul or Atia Batul. And for Sundays, for the boys, it's 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. With this, I would like to thank all of you. And if you would like to join us, you can be anywhere. You don't have to be a part of Al Mahdi. You can be anywhere in America or anywhere in the world. You can join us through Zoom. Thank you once again for joining us. Thank you for giving us your time. Inshallah, we will see you next Sunday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. And if there was any words that you do not like, I would like to apologize. وما علينا إلا البلاغ. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. خدا حافظ. You can recite ziyarat if you want, Brother Meesum.
Okay, sure. Bismillah.
Short ziyarat.
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليك يا رسول الله السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين السلام عليك يا سيدة نساء العالمين السلام عليك يا مولاي حسن المجتبى السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين السلام عليك يا مولاي زين العابدين السلام عليك يا مولاي محمد الباقر السلام عليك يا مولاي جعفر الصادق السلام عليك يا مولاي موسى الكاظم السلام عليك يا مولاي علي الرضا السلام عليك يا مولاي محمد تقي الجواد السلام عليك يا مولاي علي نقي الحادي السلام عليك يا مولاي حسن بن علي الزكي العسكري السلام عليك يا مولانا يا صاحب العصر والزمان الأمان 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 من فتنة الزمان ومن شر الشيطان السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن يا مظهر الإيمان يا كامل قائم الكفر والطغيان أدافع الظلم والعدوان يا إمام الإنس والجان أجل الله تعالى فرجه وفعل الله تعالى مخرجه وزهورك وجعلنا من أعوانك وأنصار جميع وحده الله وبركاته
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. أحسن. خدا حافظ.
فقال علي لأبي يا رسول الله أخبرني ما لجلوسنا هذا تحت الكساء من الفضل عند الله. فقال النبي